everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Lexis Jeanette, and I'm super excited about this week's episode. I am meeting with Miss Ebony Sawyer, founder of Evolving Still and a mental health advocate. And so the first thing I'd like to say is I was super excited to talk to Ebony, because I am in love with this Edge journal, right? It's a guided journal. But I was super excited to have a conversation about mental health as May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So let's take a look. Hey Ebony, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you. So I'm super excited to have you here. It's a lot of things I want to talk to you about, including the Edge Journal, which I love, by the way.
Thank you.
Filling it out already. So the first thing we'll do is play a quick game. Okay. We are going to play a game of this or that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Good. Hot or cold?
Hot.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Iced tea or hot tea?
Hot tea.
Okay. Sneakers or heels?
Depends on where I'm going, but everyday sneakers.
Okay. And I do have one question that's a trick question, but we'll save that one for the end.
Okay.
So this next one, lip gloss or lipstick?
Lip gloss.
Okay. And now this is the trick question, and it definitely determines, whether or not we move forward to the interview. So,
no pressure. No pressure.
No pressure at all. Go green or go blue?
Oh, go blue all the time. Sorry.
It's nice speaking with you. No.
I live in a blue household, so.
All right, so I'll let you live for that one. We'll continue, but.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So my first question is, really, how did Evolving Still become something for you? Like, how did you go about creating it? What was that project like for you?
So this is interesting enough. Evolving Still was a gift. And so it was not something that I thought about doing. It was not something that I really planned for, but I was presented with kind of like logo plans and like plans of the beginning stages of the business. And so it was just like, it's overwhelming, when people believe in you enough to like start something for you. But yeah, so Evolving Still is actually a gift, and I kind of put it into motion because I was always very interested in mental health, and I talked about mental health on my page all the time, and like that was just something that I did. And so it was presented like, this is an idea for you to use as an outlet and everything like that. So that is how Evolving Still was started.
Wow, I love that. That's actually awesome. And I definitely can relate to that feeling of like overwhelmingness. I know that's probably not a word, but kind of like, and I know it's different, but like when I wanted to start this, I was telling my friends and my family, and my grandpa like went out and bought me like all the stuff that I needed to record and like the lights and stuff like that. So I definitely get that. It can be a lot, but it is greatly appreciated. So.
Yeah, I think it gives you the push to actually do it. Like, this is not something that I would have thought to do in a million years. But once someone takes that step and they show that like this is really what they believe in you, that you can achieve this, it's like all the motivation that you need, to get through it.
Definitely. And I remember when I first saw it, our mutual friend in college shared it, and I love mental health. My undergraduate degree, one of them is in psychology, and so I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I love this. So I followed it, and I was like, comment on everything and repost everything, but I really do love it. I love what you do with this, so I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
So tell me about how you got started with the Edge Journal. How did you go about bringing this to life?
So on, like I was saying before, evolving still became a thing. I really posted about, kind of like my mental health journey and like self-care things. So I have been named the self-care queen by people who like know me. And so I would post things that I would do, and I would journal a lot, but I would journal in a different way. Sometimes I would like create different styles of journaling to participate in, and I would share it on my story, just like posting it. And people would ask me questions, and I would share, how I did it and like how did I manage to do all this stuff. And so my friend actually for Christmas, she was like, "Can you just like make me a journal? Like I don't want, like, yeah, you can explain how to do it, but I just want you to make it and give it to me." Right? And so Evolving Still is actually a Christmas gift. And so I had made her a journal, and I was already like in the process of making that journal, and then Evolving Still became a thing. And so I was like, oh, like I should definitely make this, a product. And so I kind of took some of the questions that I made for her specific journal, but I didn't use the exact same things, right? So when I decided that I'm going to put this out for purchase, I was very, very adamant about like making it a little bit different than every guided journal that I've ever used. And that's a lot because I use guided journals all the time. So like I had to figure out, what do I want to see in this journal that I didn't see in any other journal? And that is how I like came up with the idea and like what started, I guess, the process of it.
Nice. So I love it. I've said it probably like 5 times since I've been talking to you and I started it, but I love the quotes. I do love how the book is separated and what each letter stands for in your journey. And for me, it's important because it really came at like perfect timing for me and where I was. Shout out to your friend. I love
Thank you. Yeah, like one of the main things for me was that I love guided journals, but the thing that I always thought it was missing was kind of what to do after, right? Like you answer all these questions, but like what are the next steps? So I was very intentional on making the journal kind of go on a journey. So I'm always talking about journey and evolving, right? And like the journal, if you do it in order, takes you on a journey. And it actually, the last chapter is very, very intentional on like, these are the things that you need to do to accomplish the things you said you wanted to do, right? And so, yeah, I just kind of rework the entire thing. And I'm so glad that you like it.
Yes. So what is one thing you want people to take away from Evolving Still? I know you have the Instagram. I know you also do a blog. So between everything that you have going on, what's one thing you want people to be able to take away from it?
So I actually am more focused on the kind of the learning side and instead of the business side of Evolving Still. So like, yes, I do like the business side. I like, creating products, and I love, customer feedback, but I really, really just want people to normalize, mental health and emotional wellness. Like everyone deals with it in some way, whether you're old, young, a man, a woman, like everyone is dealing with it no matter where you are in your walk of life. And so my main goal is to normalize it, which is why you see kind of the guest post of just different kind of people from all around, kind of explaining what mental health is to them and like how do they deal with it. And so I think the biggest thing I want is for people to normalize it and take care of themselves like you take care of yourself physically, like you take care, of the things you love. You also need to take care of you.
For sure. Could you tell me what like a highlight or the best part of Evolving Still has been for you?
Yes. So I love like feedback. even like not positive feedback, right? And I just really like kind of connecting with people. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Other than listening to people and hearing people's journey, I think that it is a big stress release for me. So this is a way that I practice self-care, right? Like I'm doing something that I love. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. And I am actually studying for the MCAT because I would like to go to medical school. So I have, a separate, I'm living a whole separate life, I guess. And so Evolving Still has become that release for me, right? Like I don't have to focus on orgo and all these hard things, and I can just come and like talk about what I'm passionate about right now. Because being on the medical journey, you have to hold on to the vision because it's not a short journey, right? And so like this is something that gives me instant gratification, right?
Wow, I love that. I do. That makes a lot of sense. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Do you have any tips or resources that you would like to share with anybody?
Yes. So for Mental Health Awareness Month, Evolving Still is doing like kind of questions and kind of polls to see like what people know and what people don't know. I think that my biggest tip or my biggest kind of like advice for people that are dealing with mental health, which is everyone, is to get to know yourself first, right? Like this is a great time, especially with everything going on around us, to really sit down and learn you, right? Because you can't take care of yourself, you can't evolve without knowing who you are and the things that you like, dislike, initially. And so I have a lot of resources on my website, evolvingstill.com, that kind of goes into different ways to practice mindfulness and mindlessness and like ways to kind of figure out what you like and what you don't like. And I think additionally, like I said, everyone deals with mental health. And so it's important to know yourself, to know when something is not right or when something is a little bit more intense than it usually is, so that you can get help. There's so much help out there. There's so many different ways to get help. And so I think that that is like the biggest takeaway, is to figure out who you are and like really get in touch with yourself, so that when or if you encounter a time where you need a little bit of help, even if it's just to talk to a friend, right there, you can ask for that help and you can use the resources that are available.
Great, great. And so, of course, all of your information to your page and your website will be in the description under the video, and it'll be shared on our page. So I do want to ask, I know you said that Evolving Still is something that kind of gives you, it reminds you of your purpose, right? Because you also have another journey going on where you are preparing for medical school and the MCAT. And so if you could describe Evolving Still and what it means to you in one word, what would that word be?
um it would probably be evolving, right? Because evolving still is a play on my name. My name is Ebony Sawyer. But both journeys, all journeys I think that I walk in life, I'm always evolving and I'm always trying to be better than who I was the day before, right? And so it's important, no matter if I'm evolving educationally, evolving mentally, evolving physically, I'm always trying to be the best version of myself. And that is not, linked to anyone's standards. It's not linked to society standards. It's not linked to my friends and family standards. It's just about me and about what I want out of life and like what I feel like I deserve. And so the journey is really like about evolving, really. Like, you have to evolve. And the reason why it's evolving still is because we're like, my saying is that no matter where you are in life, no matter what the circumstances you're facing, you owe it to yourself to evolve still. Like, regardless, you owe it to you to be the best version of you. And like, don't let anyone, take that away from you. Don't let my sister used to tell me all of the time, don't let people tell you no. Like, there's always going to be someone who tells you yes. And so it doesn't matter. Circumstances don't stop you from being and doing the things that you want. And also recognizing that being told no and running into barriers, like, I know there's so many people who have been affected by this pandemic. Those feelings that you feel, that defeat, that sadness, that's real, and those are valid feelings. But after you sit there and you feel those things, it's time to pick yourself up and evolve still, right? So I think the word that I would say for those journeys is evolving.
Perfect. And I know, like, I can relate to that personally because there have been times where I've like kind of snapped out of it or had like almost an epiphany and woke up like, all right, you've been here, you sulked, you got to be in your feelings. What's next, right? You got to kind of pick yourself up.
Right.
And one thing that I love about your page and all of the stuff that you share is that it is ongoing. Like you said, still, right? It's not something that you evolve, you become who you want to be, and that's it, right? You're ever evolving, you pick yourself up, you continue to, pour into yourself. Like I said, this really came at a great time for me because I was just like stuck, like in a rut, and I wasn't unhappy. Like, I was happy and things were fine, but I got like, I just stopped. I stopped evolving. I stopped working on myself. And then I had to sit back and like, kind of reflect and look at things that I could make better.
Right.
So, that's awesome.
And that's so important, right? Like, you have us who are recent college graduates who, you go through college and you're like, okay, phew, like I just ran a freaking marathon. And so it's easy to get into that position where you're just like, let me, just be okay with where I am right now. But you also have people who have started their career and they're like in the middle of their career and they're no longer seeking to improve, right? Like, it's so important that no matter where you are, that you're always trying to improve and be the best version of you. So yeah.
So outside of evolving still, do you have other things that you really like? What is one thing that just really makes you happy? Like, you could be in a really bad mood, but this is something you can do or eat or hear or see that really just can make your day better.
I love, this sounds really weird, I really love to like read. And because I'm in my own world when I read, like, everything is shut out, I'm just kind of by myself. So reading is really that one thing that I really love to do. I also like to spend money, right? But you can't do that all of the time. So reading is probably the most healthy thing that I do. But I keep myself a little busy and I have different kind of outlets, right? And like, different situations call for different things. I try to keep up with my friends and my family. I try to keep up with, I'm a part of a mentoring program called the FATE program. And so I've been working with them for 4 years. So my freshmen are now seniors. They're breaking my heart. They're seniors. They're about to go to college. And so, like, if I'm down, I'll text them like, hey, how are you? Because encouraging them encourages me. So I have a lot of different outlets, to kind of build myself up and to kind of just enjoy being and just living my life.
That's really nice. I love that. I love mentoring. I actually was looking for a program, so after this, I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Thank you. And so, before I let you go, I know I do this thing called the Complexity Chat, which I'm sure you've seen. But this week I wanted to kind of challenge people to do something that was challenging for me when I first opened the journal, which was to write things down about myself that I liked, right? And the things that I needed to be happy in life. Because so often I kind of forget about it or don't think about it or just like, I don't know what be going on sometimes. But so if you would like to be a part of that, I'm going to challenge the audience to just write down some things that they love about themselves and the things that they need to be happy, and then offer them an opportunity to share that with us if they would like to.
Yes, I would love to like hear the feedback, right? That was one of the hard questions. I like when I wrote it, I was like, "Oh, do I really want to go there?" But yeah, it is definitely a challenge, and I will join you in challenging people to really think about those questions, right? Because those are kind of like the foundation of who you are.
Because I started to write, and like I opened my journal, I was ready to get into it, and then I read the first question and I was like, oh dang. And so it took me like 2 days to come back to it, right? In the back of my head I was thinking about different things that I love about myself, because of course I love myself and I could talk about myself all day, but what are these specific traits and qualities and things that I love about myself? And I had to think about things that I loved about myself, not the things that other people love me for.
Right.
So I had
Because
to.
you get lost in that all the time. Like I get lost and people will say like, "Oh, you're so this and you're so that," and I forget, what I actually like about myself versus what people tell me. So it's a little difficult.
Yeah. And I know my first episode, the word of the week was self-awareness. And I've been on this great journey of like re-exploring who I am, because I'm not the same person I used to be. And sometimes my mind is still there. I still kind of get stuck on that. And so this has been very helpful with me being more self-aware, because I do go to therapy, and my therapist was telling me like, you, every time I ask you how you're doing or what you have going on, you're always talking about something you're doing for somebody else. And she was like, you should be careful of that. And I know that I'm a helpful person and I'm a kind person and I'm a giving person, but to what extent do you want to be that person?
Right.
And like, how can you be better about overextending yourself to certain people in situations that don't deserve it?
Right. So for me, it's kind of similar, but instead of just doing things for other people, I somehow framed my life around making sure that the people who have sacrificed for me could be proud of the things that I've done, right? Because I kind of attach their sacrifices to my life, right? Like my parents, my family, they sacrifice, so I have to be 10 times better so that their sacrifices can be worth it. And I was living in that space and working through that space for a long time, and I had to realize, like, regardless, I'm not doing them any justice if I'm living a life that I'm not happy with. And so therapy is definitely one of those things that, like, it will drag you, but it will help you. And so I love therapy. I'm such an advocate for it, but you have to do the work. And so I think that answering those questions, like you said, is a big first step of like doing the work for you, no, not for anyone else.
Yes. So, Ebony, I would like to thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being on the show. It means a lot for the book because, like I said, I can say it all day. I really, really love this book. So, thank you so much.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
All right. So, I'll catch up with you soon.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Well, I hope that you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as we did. And so for this week for our complexity chat, as you guys heard, Ebony and I have accepted the challenge to share our things that we love about ourselves the most and the things that we think that we could improve on. And so we would like to extend that challenge to you all and give you all an opportunity to participate. And you don't have to share it, but if you do want to share it, feel free to leave it in our comments or write either one of us on our social medias, because we would love to hear from you guys. I'm your host, Lexis Jeanette. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
I would like to get to know if I could be the kind of girl that you could be down for. 'Cause when